wash my soul in the ocean, in the tears of God, I let it go.
May 2022 video horoscopes with me, Lada from Astrolada.com. May is eclipse season. There will be some crises that are happening in our lives, some big reversals, but like with everything eclipses, those reversals can create powerful new opportunities in our lives. I had such a crisis right before the eclipse, and my YouTube channel with 300,000 followers was deleted, hacked and deleted, and YouTube refuses to restore it, which is a great opportunity to create the vision I've had for some time, because something had to push me to make a channel just with my own videos that is pure astrology with my teaching and occasional teacher, astrologer who is my guest. Plus, this pushed me to start an Astrolada streaming service, which we're in the process of creating, where you can access all the videos independent of any platforms and big players, as you can see how they can delete your life in a second if they want. But I'm excited for this because it will be devoid of the vibrations of whatever it is, but we're still gonna use YouTube to attract new followers. And please subscribe to that YouTube channel if you're using YouTube or whatever you're watching, Facebook or Instagram. Follow me, and I'll be posting here. We'll restore some of the old videos as well, which is great, the tutorial videos, and I have new rubrics, new monthly exciting astrology projects that I'll be doing. And by the way, if you want to still join me on my course in May the 4th, it starts. It will be live for 6 weeks. I'll be teaching foundational astrology, how to interpret the natal charts, the techniques that are very simple but extremely insightful. There is an installment plan if you can't afford to pay it just once. So, new beginning. Let's begin with eclipse seasons. A lot of us will be having new beginnings. Please take it as opportunities, not just as crises. Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising. You, as one of the fire signs, I have great news for you. You're one of the lucky ones this month, not only this month, but for the next 6 months. Let's say why. Jupiter is entering another fire sign. Jupiter is the great benefic that expands, that brings opportunities. And it means when it enters another fire sign, Aries, from May the 10th till the end of the year almost, there will be opportunities for you coming to expand, to feel more like yourself, to feel, because what do fire signs love? To feel expansive, to have joy, to party, to have new opportunities, to, all of this life-giving energies coming back into you. For quite a few years recently, Leo, and still Leo is a bit beaten up because Saturn is opposing the Leo sign. And what can I say? When Saturn opposes our sign, because I'm also Leo moon, it's been rough 2 years. Even if it's not the exact opposition to your sun, moon, or ascendant, while it's in the opposite sign, it feels like we're weighted down with more responsibilities, the need to grow up, to be mature, to put boundaries, to learn to say no. These are heavier themes. Maybe more challenges from others as well, and more self-doubt. Saturn is enemy of the sign Leo. We want to shine as a Leo. We want to be respected. And Saturn is like, no, you first, you need to do certain things first. So it's more like we need to be glamorous. And Saturn is like wet blanket energy. So there will be a lot of help with this wet blanket energy. My whole family is very strong. Leo, mother, father, me. Leo, moon, sun, my parents. So they had a lot of health problems as well with Saturn opposing them. A lot of responsibility, building something, doing something difficult. And they couldn't feel as much joy because Leo is the sign of joy. And I have such great news for us. Now is when joy enters our life back. Yes, Saturn will stay till the end of the year, opposite our sign. We still, especially the later born Leos, will still have some drudgery there. But just the fact that Jupiter is entering another fire sign will help us become more alive, more like ourselves. And for 6 months, new opportunities will appear for us. Where will they appear from? Well, Jupiter will be in our 9th house here. I don't have it, but just look from there. And that's the house naturally connected to Jupiter. Opportunities will come to you from foreign places, first of all. 8th, 9th house is foreigners. You might meet foreigners that open, or people from a different background than you. Either they're more educated, or they're more spiritually evolved, or they're more successful, some kind of esteemed position, something that you have that you can respect them for, something that you really put more on a pedestal about someone, with their social status, finances, or just they have more achievements, or they're more knowledgeable, they're more spirit, or they're more they've walked some path and they've gained some knowledge, and you can benefit from such people. They almost will appear like teachers in our lives. Some of us can discover a dear teacher that we feel connected with over the next 6 months, or a teaching that will inspire us again, that will give us meaning and purpose in life, to persevere through the difficulties that Saturn is giving us opposing our sign. Because it's just felt like too much drudgery, or too much, let's say, blandness, and for Leos recently, at least a few years, 4 years almost, when Saturn, was doing that. And now the spark of life is coming back. Something will inspire you, will give you wings. The 9th house is to have faith, optimism again. Jupiter will renew our faith in life, our optimism. It will give us answers as to why certain things are happening or have been happening in our life. Jupiter in the 9th house gives clarity, shows you the path, shows you the Dharma. What is the Dharma? The path that your soul will be happiest to walk in. The path that is your God designed path, your higher soul designed path. Because many times we take detours and there are tests on the path. But when the 9th house gets so emphasized, it's like you get connected to your higher self, and you start, when they say when you're connected to your higher self, what happens? Synchronicities. You're at the right time at the right place. You meet the right people. You go to find a parking spot, immediately you find one. It's like when you get aligned to the higher vibrations, which is what Jupiter in the 9th house will help us, align to your higher self. It's like things start happening more magically. Yes, Saturn will still be testing some of us, especially the last 10 degrees Leos till the end of the year. From 20 to 30 degrees, it's from 18 to 25. But this Jupiter already is helping so much all Leos to see the bigger picture, to recognize why certain things have been happening, and because of that, feel motivation, feel more optimism and faith, feel more connected to God, feel more connected to the 9th house. Is one of the self houses, self-knowledge. The path of opportunity to expand, to learn things will appear. Some of you might get accepted to best universities, get a course that changes your life, that brings more optimism and faith. So come and join my course. I'm going to teach you the most beautiful things about your chart, how to interpret it from May. A lot of you Leos will feel so hungry for knowledge, and as if you know what gives most joy? Knowledge. Jupiter is the planet that brings the most joy, and the 9th house. It's not material things. It's not, yes, they give temporary joy. But when the 9th house gets activated by Jupiter, the knowledge that you receive gives you clarity about yourself, your destiny, what you're here to do, who you are, especially knowledge about who you are, your higher purpose, your higher meaning, and that gives the biggest joy. Who are the happiest people? The people that, first of all, believe in something bigger than themselves. So that will also expand Jupiter in the 9th house. You believe in God through some experience. You believe that the universe has your back, that the universe is benevolent, that the universe and life has meaning. When life has meaning, all people that had spiritual experiences, when they come back, they're so much happier, they're joyful, because they saw there's something bigger than them. So now just Jupiter in the 9th house will connect us to something bigger, some purpose, some goal, some experience that allows us to feel that there's something bigger than us, some new aim, or some higher understanding, some new belief, some new religion, or some new worldview that brings the joy back to us. For some of you, it can be great opportunities not only to study but to teach. I remember when Jupiter transited my ninth house from the ascendant. That's the first time I started teaching, and oh my God, was I, if this is your path, of course, the joy that it brought me. And it will happen easy. For some of you, Jupiter will bring opportunities to travel more. Oh yeah, easy access to faraway travel. And that will be especially travel on which you can learn something and new opportunities will appear. Almost like a pilgrimage where, especially if you've gone through a hard time. Some of you might have gone through a divorce, through a loss, through a very dark or time where you lost your spark. Well, now, and you know what happens, you've probably heard lots of stories. You go through such period and you're like, damn it, I'm going to go and travel. And now Jupiter opens this opportunity to travel. And what happens? Heat, pray, love, you find yourself there. Self-knowledge, you connect to your purpose, to your high self, you understand yourself better. Or you go and meet the love of your life in a foreign country suddenly. I've seen so many times, I have friends that live in Goa, in India. They say many times there are women that come after divorce or heartbreak. They come there in a totally foreign environment, and it's like a spiritual awakening for them, and they discover themselves, they find love or whatever. So I'm not saying it will happen for all of you, but this bringing back the life in you to come through this connection to high purpose. Plus, it can be good for people that are in any careers that's connected to teaching, to foreign, to coaching. It can expand you to foreign countries, to import, export opportunities are coming to working with foreigners, expanding on foreign markets. Jupiter will give this opportunity. And for others, it can just mean this feeling of more support in the universe, more faith, clarity, higher knowledge, and and more luck, Especially the first 10 degrees Leo, they'll feel this year very strongly. From 0 to 10 degrees. The later Leos can feel this expansion of the ninth house, everything that I talked about, way more powerful in 2023. But already Jupiter will be supporting us, is looking at our sign from the ninth house. Teaching, joy from that, from traveling, from, I think I mentioned everything. And Venus will be in our 9th house from the beginning. Again, more inspiration from the beginning of May till the end of May. More inspiration. Maybe even some of you might have romantic experiences abroad. Some of you might fall in love with higher knowledge. Some of you might fall in love with a foreigner. Some of you might have just pleasant experiences on a trip, far away, foreign country, different country, experience some things like that are very enjoyable for you. So if you have to travel, May is the time. Guys, even though Mercury goes retrograde, I think two great planets in your ninth house, Venus, and from May the 10th, Jupiter. I think that even if you travel Mercury retrograde, you'd still, you're protected. You'd have some very enjoyable experiences, eye-opening and so on. Or you can really enjoy starting to learn something there with Venus in the ninth house, connecting with more erudite people, connecting with if you want to connect romantically with your love more, again, Venus in the ninth house now in May, travel or go on some lecture together or discuss some high-minded topics or do something a bit more, soulful or spiritual in a sense. All right, Mercury goes retrograde from May the 10th in your 11th house. So till May the 25th, it might be time to reconnect with old friends, old colleagues or mates or people from your past that you haven't seen in a while. Mercury retrograde in your 9th house, in your 11th house of friendships. Reconnect with people on social media or pick up some old, or also Mercury retrograde, they can make you maybe reevaluate certain connections, maybe clean up your social media, maybe disconnect from some people and or have some important conversations with them if you feel that it was not the right, if you feel it's not balanced in some way. So for some of you, there might be some crisis with friendships, some important communications, revising friendships and acquaintances, and people in your social network. For others, it might just mean reconnecting with old clients, because 11th house is very business connected, reconnecting to, to your old audience, and maybe picking up some old projects and giving it a facelift and making it profitable again by the time Mercury turns direct in June and is back in Gemini in your 11th house. So you pick up something old, you give it a facelift, you improve it, or you might be completing some long-term project, is the 11th house, that requires using more communication skills, your knowledge, or any kind of skills you've acquired. You might fix it, repair it, try to improve it, or maybe improving some business or marketing or sell or networking project, editing it, redoing this kind of your marketing strategy of some sort, redesigning it. Very much it can be even about redesigning websites so it has better outreach and cleaning out the bugs, or redesigning some project, which is business project, and so on. And then we continue with other events. We talked about Jupiter in Aries. There is an eclipse, Leos. Eclipse in Scorpio in our 4th house here. And it's going to be square Saturn. So that eclipse is on the May 16th. Maybe you feel it before, for some people even a month before, for some people within 3 months, but there can be some big shift in your family life coming. Not right on May 16th, but starting from then, starting from the beginning of May even to the end, and into that can affect you, for a while. I mean, extreme cases, that can be saying goodbye to a family member. It's with the South Node and letting go. Maybe removing some toxic family connection. It doesn't necessarily mean the dying of someone in your family. That's very rare. What it can mean, it's like releasing some toxicity from your early childhood, because the 4th house is where we store our childhood memories, releasing it, healing up some toxic memories, healing up some toxic feelings, because Scorpio is feelings based and trauma based, and South Node full moon releases those. Of course, first they can escalate, they can come to the surface with those painful memories. So you can relive them and experience them. You can have some breakthroughs with a psychologist or in counseling, very powerful ones, that, if you've been counseling for 5 years, talk therapy, suddenly you can find like a big realization now connected to your family issues and ancestral patterns, and release them. Maybe let go of some toxic and painful ancestral pattern. Not necessarily through working with psychics, even with psychologists. It can happen spontaneously as well, or through family constellations. It can be great time for this. Great realization about family dynamics. And when you have realization, you release the pain again. There can be some shift on the more material level, that some of you are making some big change in their home, or completing within the next 2-3 months something that they're building around the house, moving from one place to another, releasing something, changing something in regards to their home and family, or some kind of crisis can escalate in the family, or emotionally, psychologically. But again, I think because Jupiter and Venus are in another fire sign, they're helping us with a trine. God has your back and will protect you. And the 9th house is the house of God, and you have this philosophical outlook, even if there is some crisis that's happening emotionally or with family, or some big change with your home, family environment, that this higher perspective that Jupiter and Venus will give you from the 9th house will allow you to go through it easier in a more philosophical way, and take the higher path rather than vindictive path in that situation. Just as long as our family members are healthy, that's the most important, But, for some of you, can be just as simple as family like doing some decision with family to move or do changes around the home. I hope that's the side of it. It just worries me because it's Scorpio and it's square Saturn, but there's a lot of help. Okay, and then we have Mercury, from being retrograde in your 11th house, goes retrograde into your 10th house from May 24th. We'll be there till around sometime in June. So Then you might work on some work projects, career projects that you put finishing touches and edit them and fix them. You might have some important conversations with authority figures towards the end of May, father figures, authority figures. You might have to change schedule or plans for your work or career to accommodate something. You might be completing some old project that comes back, has to be fixed, where you have to be more organized, supervise something, or maybe something that you have to complete with an institution to fix some issue there, and so on. So then, yeah, and then Mars enters our ninth house towards the end of the month. So what we talked about ninth house. We'll speak about Mars in the ninth house more in the June videos. So it will give you again from the end of May possibility to travel, drive to travel, more ambition to express your opinions, to teach, to explore new territories. But we talked a lot about that. So I hope that was uplifting for you. Thank you so much. And if you want to use the ninth house Jupiter transits to learn and expand your knowledge, which is fascinating for that, come and join my class.